Welcome everyone to another edition of Hardcore Wrestling Radio's In the Moment. I am your hardcore host Rick Head, and I am joined by the classic wrestling manager Joseph Knight. Joe, what's up?
Yeah, how is that bastard? Oh, wait a minute, that's me. I'm doing good. I'm home. I got home. A lot of news going on. Well, we got to talk about.
Yeah, there is. Right now, there's a few hot topics going on. One of the main topics right now is Randy Orton, and supposedly there's rumors that he's going to be facing Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. Now, even if this, let's say for a second this is true, I feel it's a bad idea. One, because Randy Orton, he's recovering from a shoulder injury, which he's had multiple shoulder injuries. That's been one of his main problems throughout his career. Um, so if he's going to come back, he has to come back with a big win. Now, Brock Lesnar, for one, he's a stiff fighter, and secondly, he very rarely jobs out Joe.
Oh, and that is not the ideal person to go up against Brock Lesnar because with a bad shoulder, he's going to go in there. It's not going to look good, and I don't think that's the ideal person. I said this: if you're going to put him in there with somebody, give him somebody else, anybody else that can fight. I say push Big Cass and have Big Cass, you know, take him on. Even if the guy's not going to win, but at least give Big Cass that push, and it'll work. I think it'll be better than Randy Orton. I'm not saying that Randy Orton's a bad worker; he's a great worker,
So
but
you're referring to Brock Lesnar versus Big
I,
Cass.
I'd prefer Brock Lesnar versus Big Cass than Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton.
Well, that
It's a recipe for him to get hurt again when he's not fully healed.
I agree. Now, another thing is that's very interesting is around the same time Brock Lesnar is going to be going to UFC 200. I don't know the exact date, but and he's going to be fighting this guy. And again, I should have my notes, but um, this guy he has 12 wins and 10 losses. So Brock's just going to walk in and destroy this guy. So now, some people say that they're doing this. The Brock made this one-time deal to kind of test the waters to see if he wants to come back. Other people saying that he was trying to highlight because CM Punk was supposed to be debuting at 200. So, what's your thoughts, Joe? Do you think he's trying to test the waters, or you think they were covering up for the rumor about CM Punk coming on?
I think they're just covering that up. I think also I can see the potential of this happening with Brock being there, and if CM Punk shows up, it's two former WWE champions in the same place where anything can happen. I think Vince was smart enough to say, you know what, you got Punk. Well, we're sending Brock Lesnar. And those two don't like each other. And this could be something that we might see, explode. Maybe not in a backstage thing, but you might see something happen during each other's fight. One might come out to the other one.
Well, let me stop you right there, and I have to disagree with you about Punk unless you're not liking each other. Because CM Punk said on many interviews, "I have no problem with Brock. Brock's a great guy. We've gotten along." So I don't buy that part. But I want to get back to the Randy Orton because this is about him going to be coming back, and SummerSlam supposedly going to be one of his bigger matches. Because obviously they want to bring him back for a big pay-per-view. I could see him, Randy Orton, if he was going to fight somebody. I'd like to see him and Sami Zayn. Now, obviously, Sami Zayn would get the loss, but I don't think it would hurt his career. I think, obviously, whoever Randy Orton fights, he's going to have to get the win for the obvious reason.
I can't, if he does come back, one of the rumors is that he's taking on, again, Brock. If Bad thing for Randy Orton to do, like I agree with you, he should take on Sami Zayn. But here's something else. Here's another person I'd rather see Randy Orton take on. And I'd rather see Randy Orton taking on Kevin Owens.
That would be another great personal fight. I'd like to see him fight one of the newer guys because again, we're seeing some of these older guys, or legends. We'll use, Randy Orton, Undertaker, John Cena. They're getting to that point where their careers are starting to come to a close. I wouldn't say anytime soon, but the torch definitely needs to be passed to the younger guys. But let's move along. As we've seen over the past couple of weeks, we've seen the Wyatt family starting a feud with a New Day. Now, the one person who really seems to be disturbed is Xavier Woods. Now, I don't doubt that he's going to either turn heel, he could possibly turn heel, but some people think that he's going to turn heel and join the Wyatts. I personally don't buy that one. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely don't see Buckwheat joining the Little Rascals. I mean, Xavier joining the Wyatts. That'll be such a contrast. I don't think it's going to happen. I think what's going to happen is they're playing Xavier as he's afraid of the Wyatts.
I wouldn't
And
say afraid. I think it's more the fact that he's taking them seriously, and it's time to stop joking. And that is pretty much. I watched an interview earlier, and that's pretty much what he says. I got no problem with the New Day. I love them, but we can't be joking around with these guys. We got to play it seriously.
well, and again, it's kind of a situation where he is, you know, pretty much he is that type of guy that they're playing it as a really concerned. He's really concerned about this whole fight, and there's got to be a fear factor in there because let's face it, here are these white guys in the hills in a cabin, that can look like they could rape people. That's kind of a little, kind of a little nightmare for him. It's kind of that situation where he's probably saying, I don't want to. We got to be careful with these guys. It's like the fear that Undertaker gets when people get in the ring with the Undertaker, supposedly kayfabe, where, oh my God, this is the Undertaker, I'm dead.
Yeah,
You know,
and again, I agree with that. I see where you're going with that because they've tried to make the Wyatts that kind of a fearful clan, and it really sometimes it works. But the fact is, when they get their asses kicked, it seems it just kind of dissipates. Now, we know that Bray Wyatt just came back from an injury. Luke Harper is still out of injury. Probably won't be back for a couple of weeks. But when it comes to the Wyatts, tonight on Smackdown, we don't give spoilers. The New Day is supposedly taking an invitation to join, their
yeah,
compound.
go out to their cabin and all.
Yes, so and the Wyatts really did some really nice promos, and I'm wondering if maybe this time they're going to give them that push they truly deserve.
It could be one away for the Wyatts to move forward than to at least move the belts off of them. I say, if you're going to give the belts to any version of the Wyatts, it'll have to be the black sheep and the white sheep. You know, give it to those two. Because those are the monsters. That's Ron Strowman is going to be the guy. He's going to be that one guy who is going to outpower Big E. And then you got Rollins, who's pretty good at what he does, and he could take the bumps pretty well. So I think that combination of the sheep being the ones that challenge for the title kind of frees up Luke Harper to move on to other titles. Maybe a U.S. title, maybe an Intercontinental title.
And he is a former IC champion.
Exactly.
Now, like you said, the Sheep, I can see them. This they got a big draft split coming up in just a couple of weeks, and maybe we could see the Wyatt family get split up. And I think maybe if Bray Wyatt worked on his own for a little bit, it would probably work. And as you said, maybe bring the Sheep, Harper, Eric Rowan's, and Braun Strowman, who I personally don't like Strowman. That would be a tag team because right now they need to build the tag team division up. There are a few stables going around right now, but I think that's only a matter of time before they get broken up for the obvious draft. I want to switch gears. As we know, Cody Rhodes has left the company. He asked for his release because he kind of felt that he was being overlooked, and he just wasn't getting the right shots. He wanted to change his gimmick because he was tired of the Stardust gimmick. and he just felt he was being a joke of the company. He moved on, and so far he's been in the Indies. He's had a lot of offers, and there was early reports saying that he would be a first guest on the Ric Flair show because they were going to reboot it, which is now on the MLW radio. First, Rody confirmed that he would be on on the podcast. Then hours later, he tweeted something which led to me mixed signals. This is what he said: avoiding quote tell all unquote a podcast, yes. Not avoiding the chance to speak the chat with Ric Flair about my father and the future. So that pretty much tells me that Cody wants to talk about certain things, but he wants to leave maybe his personal career out.
He really wants to take his career in a different direction. He wants to prove that he can be a good success under his own creative control. And right now, I made the argument: you're in the WWE, just take it, take the money, and just shut up and work. But obviously he's making it work. And like I said before, Rick, there's a lot of mark promoters out there who will spend money to get Cody Rhodes on their show instead of reinvesting in their company. In my opinion, it's good to see Cody going around because he's going to make that quick big payday in short spurts. So and plus it gives him a time to tweak what he wants. Can he mix a little Stardust? Does he mix his own Cody made man, or does he mix a little bit of the American Dream? This is his opportunity to try out different gimmicks, different outfits, different looks, and hope that WWE says, I like what I see. Let's bring him back.
Yeah, and I don't want to get too much on this topic. Damian Sandow, again, he was released. I feel, again, that they dropped the ball on that one, but again, he's having other offers. I believe he even has a couple of walk-on spots for some sitcoms and some voiceovers. So we're going to be seeing him not even in the ring, but outside the ring as well. So, but now I got to move on to something funny. This is, as we know, we always beat the shit out of TNA because it's just rightfully deserved. But Joe, you're gonna get
they're that proverbial dead horse. You just got to keep beating because that's basically what they are.
Well,
how many knockouts are blowing Dixie's husband because he's the one funding the company? It's how can they keep this company going and still be in the level that they are?
Well, here's the real topic that I found was funny. Now,
I'll cut the rant.
As we know, Matt Hardy is kind of going through this new gimmick. I don't know. It looks like he's hitting the fucking meth pipe. He's got like half hair, half blonde, half black. He's kind of walking with this weird fucking accent, and he just looks like he's a complete day. So he cuts a promo. And who does he talk about? CM Punk in his UFC debut. And he compares that to him fighting Jeff Hardy on Impact. Now, there was a video, I watched it, and I'm just thinking to myself, oh my God, Matt, will you please shut the fuck up? Because the guy, every time he does his promos or his little videos on YouTube, you don't even want to laugh at it. You just want to just sit there and it's like, it hurts. But Matt Hardy, CM Punk, and compared to the Hardy fights on TNA, your thoughts?
First of all, I'm gonna quote Mick Foley when I look at Matt Hardy's promos. It hurts me, mommy. It really does. I can hold my hand and go, ow, ow, because here's a guy who looks like he stuck his finger in the light socket to get his hair. He has the Bride of Frankenstein hairstyle, which has the white stripe. I don't know if he's trying to mimic Seth Rollins or what. Then it's like the big puffy hair.
I think he's trying to be a distant cousin of Enzo.
Oh, Lord. I don't think Enzo needs that. And you talk about hitting the meth pipe. I think he took one of those big Tibetan horns and just using that as a bong, because this guy, and obviously it's getting around. People are talking about him. But here's the thing. This is headlining TNA. And Rick, you know me. The fans know me as the type of traditional wrestling promoter. I do managing and I do promoting, but I also done my fair share of creative. I gotta say this: that's not the direction you want to put your company in. You don't want to hand your company over to these two drugged up guys. You know, Jeff, yes, you can work with Jeff a little. Matt looks like he's, like, wait a minute, wait a minute. Okay, now I'm ready. No, no, wait. I
You
mean,
sound like maybe that sounds like maybe before we do a podcast only as weed. But Jeff Hardy, and I've said it throughout the years. Yes, the Hardy Boys in their heyday were phenomenal, but when they split, Jeff Hardy truly proved that he was a Shawn Michaels of the Rockers. He won world titles, and meanwhile, Matt Hardy, I think he won the United States title, but he won it from MVP. So it's not like it was a major accomplishment. But
let's put it like this: Matt Hardy has more accomplishments under his belt than his brother ever has. The only reason Matt Hardy's in TNA, the only reason Matt Hardy's getting this huge push, the only reason Matt Hardy became a champion is because his brother Jeff. No ands, it's about it, and because Dixie's a WWE mark. They're doing this final match called Final Deletion at Slammiversary. I'm guessing that's their next pay-per-view. Should be Crapiversary. I look at this and it's a complete waste of money and time. These two can't go how they used to. I'd rather see the Hardys normal with their hair down, with the way they used to be, having maybe spend a little money, because we all know Dixie loves to spend money on former WWE people. Bringing Lita in, bring somebody like another team that they fought against, and rehash the Hardys in your tag team division like they did Team 3D. But that's not going to happen. We're going to see a lousy match between the two. I'm sure they're going to go probably spend the night smoking and taking every intravenously into their arms to be ready for this show, for their match. So, you know what? I have nothing more to add to Crap Hardy and his brother Meth.
Well, and I want to move on to one more thing because you talked about TNA and how they're bad. Now, one of the wrestlers that truly has developed that I have a lot of respect for, and that's EC3. When he first came in, I'm like, this guy's going to be a fucking joke. He's not going to go anywhere. And you know what? He's proven himself. I think the problem was when he first came in, he was green. He came from NXT. NXT at the time was not really televised. The network wasn't around, so you kind of had to go online and watch it. And I wasn't to that point where I don't really like watching a lot of long videos or TV shows on YouTube. And I think if he was there, I could see him at some point heading back over the WWE. And that's just, again, great guy. But I want to move on to our last subject, is AJ Styles and John Cena. And we've talked about this before, but from what I've seen over the past couple of weeks, it looks like they're really making AJ look weak. Like, he can't do the promo. He's doing these promos where he's just kind of like acting like a kid in high school, and he needs his buddies to back him up. It's not playing that cool heel role. It's more like a weak heel role, so to speak.
What I don't like is that they're having AJ and his crew beat up John Cena every Monday. That's a bad thing to do, because you know what's going to happen? What's obviously going to happen? He's going to get the win with his team at the next pay-per-view, and it's going to destroy whatever momentum these guys got. The club with AJ, I seen us trying to help push Kaz and Enzo. All it is a recipe to push one group over the other. You have to be kind of push them both, and I think having AJ and his crew beat up on Cena every Monday night, everybody's gonna sit back and predict it, and it's like, okay, here comes the pay-per-view. Whoop, yep, Cena won. Okay, let's move on. And I bet you they'll give the winning pin to Enzo. I'm making that prediction right now.
Well, I don't see the six-man tag at a pay-per-view. I would see that maybe on a Raw, maybe a go-home show. because obviously they're not going to have that kind of a match. It's going to be a one-on-one. And as I said before,
Actually, Rick, they actually did announce that.
did they? Okay. Well, you know what? I fast-forwarded Raw so much last week because Raw was so horrible. So I could have very well missed that one. So forgive me for. I can't believe they're doing a triple threat, yeah, a six-man tag on a fucking pay-per-view. So my guess is that's going to be what we would call a rubber band match, and then they're going to have a final match where AJ gets the win. I mean, I'm sorry, where Cena gets the win because Cena always has to come out on top. And
Absolutely, and what happens is the club is going to fall into the same situation the Wyatts were in, where they got the glory during house shows and pay-per-views. I mean, excuse me, house shows and Raw or Smackdowns. But then when it came to the pay-per-views, we saw how well the Wyatts, how the Wyatts were. They had to lose. You know, you want to build up a credible storyline, make it like the shocking win for the club, because John Cena obviously is not going to lose. He's still going to be popular. Enzo and Cash are still up and comers. They can get the one up later. They have to push this faction to make them look strong, and then work it around. Make them lose maybe one or two matches, but keep them strong.
well,
I think
but
that's why we don't see. That's why nobody's really interested in this battle.
well, I want to put one more a point out, and again, this is my personal thoughts. I could be dead wrong, but Finn Balor is supposed to be getting called up in the very near future. Now, Finn Balor, of course, was a part of we're gonna call it the Bullet Club because that's really what it is. And I would like to see, you know, Finn Balor come up, and you know they're all buddies for like maybe a week or two, and then eventually have the club turn on AJ Styles because I think right now AJ Styles has better push as a babyface than he does as a heel. When he was in TNA doing the heel role, he had a lot more, you know, strength. He seemed like a stronger heel, or he was that heel that you know everybody would just laugh at. He would do like silly things, and it really, really developed his career. But I think right now the heel AJ for me just isn't working.
Yeah, you know what? They had to go with the heel just to push it against Cena, and they'll probably change him later on. But for now, they need to have this match with him as a heel, just to build it up so he can get that, just so he can get that going, and then switch him later. So it needs to be done.
No. Well, you know what? We're going to wrap up this edition in the moment, and we want to know your thoughts. Who should Randy Orton face at SummerSlam? Should it be Brock Lesnar, or should it be somebody else? What do you think of Matt Hardy and him, trashing CM Punk, even though a lot of people don't like Punk? Put your comments in the comments section below. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button in the upper right hand corner. And if you want to join in the conversation, you want to say what you want, how you want to say it, head on over to Facebook in the group sections under the name HWR Chat Room. We're the type of place, chat room, we just don't give a fuck what you got to say, as long as it's got to do with wrestling. I am your hardcore host, Rick Ed, and I would love to thank, again, Joseph Knight for coming on the show. Joe, what do you got going on?
Well, pretty much fans can follow me on Twitter. I mean, I'm starting to get the numbers. I hope more people continue to follow me. I talk about different things, about games, reviews, politics is a big thing. Fans can follow me on Twitter at JKnightCWA. They can also follow me on Facebook on my business page at facebook.com Joseph Knight Manager. They can also follow my retro group, Rick. You and me a part of that. I'm stumbling here. Too many Steve Weisers. It's DK Retro, where we do classic reviews of TV shows, video games, and movies of long past, and a couple of them of today. I'm gonna do a little kind of rant review on the new Ghostbusters movie. So I'd rather prefer watching the originals than the new one. And that fans can follow me on Facebook.com groups DK Retro. You can also, we're getting our CWA back up and running, which will be coming around September. And for that, fans can follow us on Facebook.com Classic Wrestling Association. Woo, Rick.
And with that, I'm your hardcore host, Rick Ed, saying we'll see you when we see you.